What is Cubism? Cubism was one of the most influential art movements of the 20th century. It was founded around 1907 and 1908 by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. The Cubist style emphasized the flat, two-dimensional surface of the picture plane, rejecting the traditional techniques of perspective, foreshortening, modeling, and chiaroscuro, and refuting time-honored theories that art should imitate nature. Hence, Cubist painters were not bound to copying form, texture, color, and space. Instead, they presented a new reality in paintings that depicted radically fragmented objects. Cubism derived its name from remarks that were made by the critic, Louis Vauxelles, who derisively described Braque's 1908 work titled Houses at L'Estaque as being composed of cubes. In Braque's painting, the volumes of the houses, the cylindrical forms of the trees, and the tan and green color scheme are reminiscent of Paul Cézanne's landscapes, which deeply inspired the Cubists in their first stage of development, especially until 1909. It was, however, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, painted by Picasso in 1907, that presaged the new style. In this work, the forms of 5 female nudes become fractured, angular shapes. As in Cézanne's art, perspective is rendered through color, with the warm reddish browns advancing and the cool blues receding. Over the years, Cubism developed into 2 distinct phases, namely, the initial and more austere Analytic Cubism, and later phase of the movement known as Synthetic Cubism. On the one hand, the Analytic Cubists reduced objects to just a series of overlapping planes and lines mostly in near-monochromatic browns, grays, or blacks. Here, the favorite motifs of Cubists were still life, with musical instruments, bottles, pitchers, glasses, newspapers, and the human face and figure. Whereas in Analytic Cubism the small facets of a dissected or analyzed object are reassembled to evoke that same object, Synthetic Cubist works, on the other hand, emphasize the combination, or synthesis, of forms in the picture. Here, color assumes a strong role in these works. Also, shapes, while remaining fragmented and flat, are larger and more decorative. Smooth and rough surfaces may be contrasted with one another, and frequently foreign materials, such as newspapers or tobacco wrappers, are pasted on the canvas in combination with painted areas. This technique, known as collage, further emphasizes the differences in texture and, at the same time, poses the question of what is reality and what is illusion.